Welcome back, you fellow fan stands, to the Week 9 finals. In this match, we have Bant Control piloted by Ryan. It's got that classic Azorius shell, but then you splash green for recursion, speed, and Nissa as a game ender. On the other side, we have Doomsday Ramp piloted by Matt. It's got your classic fast Doomsday win combo, but you can also play a fair game with Ramp and Nissa. Here's game 1. Alright, looking on your screen here, on the left we have Ryan, going to be piloting the Bant Control deck. And to the right we have Matt, playing Doomsday Ramp. Now both players just looking at their 7s, deciding whether or not they're keep. It looks like both players are content with what they've got, so Ryan will start us off with a Tropical Island and a Birds of Paradise, already showing off that green splash. And it looks like Matt's got quite an explosive start here. We have Mox Jet, Gemstone Mine, Black Lotus, into Nissa. We're going to animate our land and attack for 3, because that has haste and vigilance. And then we'll tap it post-combat for a Doomsday through a Dark Ritual. So Matt gets to look through their graveyard and their library, choose 5 cards, and then that will become their library. All the other cards get exiled, and this usually has a combo finish of drawing your deck with Jace out on the battlefield, which leads to an automatic win. But Matt's going to be choosing out their piles. There is a very consistent couple of cards that you can pick, and that just like gets you a win, but it doesn't usually account for interaction from the opponent. Ryan here, the availability for permission spells, whether they be Dovin's Veto, Counterspell, and the like, will force Matt to try to build somewhat of a more resilient pile. Matt also has to think about what if Ryan has a mental misstep to delay like an ancestral from Matt. What if Ryan has an ancestral of their own and try to mill Matt out? There's also the possibility of Black Lotus into Karn to shut off artifact mana. And so Matt might want to put more lands in their pile and have a slower approach to getting this done and over with. There's also the possibility for Narset, which if Matt adds a little bit of extra mana, they can use a Narset of their own and Time Walk as a way to win without drawing multiple cards in a turn, but effectively still gaining multiple resources and closing the game in short order. But all these nuanced situations, all these possible interaction points and pieces that Ryan could have is what Matt's thinking about right now when they're creating their pile. That Gemstone Mine also going to add a little bit of more uncertainty into what the future holds for them. The Gemstone Mine can only be tapped one more time. It's only got 3 counters to start off, and it's already been tapped twice, so that'll have to go to the graveyard if Matt wants to use it as a resource. Meanwhile, on the other side, Ryan has to think about play that next level thinking, what does Matt think that I have? What kind of interaction pieces are safest for me to deploy? And I've got to think about, which one will actually end up getting the job done. They do have a Dovin's Veto in hand. Ryan flashed with us and does have the mana to play it with the Birds in Paradise in play. Matt really thinking about their 5 cards, but it looks like we've made a decision and figured out what we're going to do. Doomsday has officially resolved. 5 cards left in library. Everything else in exile. Matt with 2 cards in hand, and Ryan's just taking a peek at all the cards that are in Matt's list. This really gives an information advantage to Ryan, knowing the ins and outs of the main board. Yes, games 2 and 3 will make this information slightly less relevant, but this information also notifies Ryan as what could be in those remaining 5 cards of Matt's library. But here, it's Ryan's turn 2. We're going to play an Ipnu Rivulet. Now, this is a huge piece of interaction for Ryan. Not only are they representing the ability to cast their own Dovin's Veto, but the Ipnu Rivulet is not a spell that goes on the stack. It has target player mill 4 cards. And right now, Matt's library only contains 4 cards. And I don't believe this is something Matt anticipated when they were thinking about all the different lines or pieces of interaction Ryan could have. And we're just having a think with the order. Matt's thinking about the order of the cards that are currently in their library, if there's any way for them to win this. But no, Ryan's going to activate the Ipnu Rivulet, and Matt says, yeah, you got me. I don't have anything. And that's game 1 going to Ryan. Welcome back to the finals. We've got game 2 here. And Matt's going to be taking the play this time. But before that, both players are going to check and see if they're keeping their hands, and both do. Matt here with a nice ramp start. Going to go Mox Jet, Bayou, Soul Ring, Dark Ritual into Mind Twist for 4. Now Matt's played 5 cards of their own on turn 1. They've only got 2 cards left in hand. However, this Mind Twist is going to equalize the amount of cards left in hand. Yeah, Ryan's on the draw. They're going to be able to draw back up to 4 cards. But at this point, Matt's already got 4 mana in play. And if Matt ends up randomly taking the mana sources from Ryan, then Ryan might not even be able to get to play the game. It's funny, there are 5 cards left, rolling a d6, and that was a 6 3 times in a row. Alright, the Mind Twist hit Ancestral, Fact or Fiction, Savannah, and Karn. All cards that Ryan would prefer to have in their hand. That Ancestral would have been able to dig them back out of the Mind Twist. But we're going to have draw, go. And here's the power of that early Mind Twist. You've got all the mana already deployed, and Nissa's going to uptick on a land and hit for 3. Meantime, Ryan's going to gain a little bit more information. See what Matt's working with. And play another land, but at this point, counterspells aren't going to do too much for you. And this Nissa is just running away with things. Uptick to 7 already. 2 Bayous animated, 2 Bayous swinging at Ryan's face. Another 6 damage, and if Matt has another land here, yep, you animate another land. Any interaction piece? Nope. 9 damage. And Nissa gets it done all on her own with the help of Mind Twist. And we're here in game 3. Both players drawing 7s for the final time of the tournament, final time of week 9. Looks like Ryan has a strong start with a Black Lotus in hand. Matt equally has fast mana of their own. And it seems both players are content to keep. So we've got Black Lotus, Mox Sapphire, and we were thinking about an Ipnu Rivulet, but instead we'll play that Gemstone Mine and pass the turn. We've got a stop on the upkeep by Ryan, and we'll Ancestral. Now, heads up play, casting in the upkeep. This prevents Matt from potentially drawing into Mental Misstep. This also allows Ryan to keep more cards in hand. But a Gitaxian probe will let Matt see what Ryan's up to. We're starting the same as last game, but we don't have that Mind Twist. And end of turn will Factor Fiction, revealing another Foff, 2 Savannas, Counterspell, and I believe that's an Ipnu Rivulet. Ryan favoring the cards more in that interaction piece in the Counterspell. These counterspells mean a whole lot against the ramp strategies because you have so many enablers that you're playing out with all that mana, generation, and you just want to play something really heavy hitting ahead of schedule. But if you're investing so much into those heavy hitters, a counterspell just means so much, represents so much mana advantage and tempo. Now here we've got a Praetor's Grasp from Matt. Ryan does have the ability to counterspell this, or Dovin's Veto as their unknown card. There are plenty of cards that are in Ryan's deck that Matt would be happy to get a hold of. Can't grab the Ancestral Recall because that's already in Ryan's graveyard. But if we're thinking like Time Walk, we've got more Nissas that Matt's already playing copies of their own. Maybe a regrowth to be able to get back a spell that's counterspelled from Ryan. Maybe an interaction piece of our own, grab a counterspell. Though, notably, Praetor's Grasp does not color wash. So you need to have the actual mana sources to generate the mana you need to cast the spell. Looks like Matt's also pulled up Karn the Great Creator. Just able to be a 1-card combo. Also, grabbing that Karn would protect Matt's mana pieces, as right now, if those artifacts go, Matt's only got 1 land. It's also kind of a must counter piece for Ryan because it would shut off the Moxen from Ryan's side. Looks like end step we've got Tragic Lesson, draw 2 cards, and then discard a card unless we bounce a land to hand. But we are going to discard the card, favoring to keep our resources high, always have multiple interaction pieces up. Right now, Ryan could Dovin's Veto and Counterspell, or because they didn't bounce their land, they could do one of those two and mill with Ipnu Rivulet. But for right now, we've got a Teferi on the stack. And this means that if Matt goes for a Doomsday win, then they won't have a way to protect from Ryan's counterspells. Right now we've got Dark Ritual into Casualties of War, looking to get rid of the Rivulet, the Mox, and Teferi, but Ryan says, no, I like having all of my resources, please do not. Now I believe Ryan just drew Time Walk, which is going to be really potent with Nissa in hand. So we'll cast Nissa, animate a land, hit for 3, and now this tropical island can tap for extra mana. Taps for an extra green while Nissa is out in play. And we will cast that Time Walk. Now Time Walk pulling so much duty here. That high investment Planeswalker would leave Ryan otherwise tapped out. But here Ryan gets to get all their mana back and hold up that counterspell's interaction. It also represents an extra 6 damage, an extra creature in play, because Nissa gets to activate their loyalty ability again. Ryan gets to attack with 2 lands. Hitting Matt down to 9, we're just going to pass the turn, holding up interaction. Matt's going to need to get rid of Nissa here and now, and then deal with the 3/3s she's left around. But that face-up counterspell is just so brutal. You're going to need multiple Casualties of War at this point. Or like multiple Elder spells. You're going to have 2 of something, because this counterspell just isn't going to let you play the game. We've got a Nissa of our own, leaving only a Mox Jet up. And this means that Ryan knows the coast is clear, just going to counterspell, draw, uptick Nissa on the Rivulet, and swing for 9. Just checking all their boxes, making sure that it's all safe before they go for the kill. Respectable to make sure you have it in the bag. But Matt's gonna concede here, and Ryan, congratulations for being the 4-0 finisher in Week 9 with their Bant control list.